The organization Undoing Tax Abuse has called on Minister of Transport to extend the deadline for the renewal of the expired driver's license cards, or that law enforcement agencies be instructed not to issue fines for motorists whose driver's license cards have expired in the past 12 months. This as the deadline for the renewal of driver's licenses expires tomorrow. The organization says it is considering legal opinion that may lead to a civil disobedience campaign. For more on this, I'm joined now by OUTA's Executive Director, Advocate Stephanie Fick. Advocate Fick, good evening. Good to have you with us tonight here on In Focus. The Minister of Transport indicating that he will be briefing the nation tomorrow on this particular matter and possibly a possible extension. Is that a sign of the minister coming around on this particular matter?
Well, I think just the fact that he's talking to us tomorrow is a sign of something. Whether he will extend the deadline, don't know. I think it will be in the best interest of, motorists, and I can't see that there's any, negative connotation if they do that for the government or for the department if they do. But there's so many other things you can announce. I mean, we've been advocating for the fact that, why don't you extend this renewal of the driver's license card from 5 to 10 years? Or if you don't want to extend the deadline, which is only a deadline for, people whose driver's license card expired, it's largely during the COVID period. Either extend deadline for everybody, or then at least give us an undertaking that you will not, I would like to call it harass motorists who have just gone out of their way to try and renew their driver's license, but because of the systemic failures were unable to do so. Give us a guarantee that you won't issue them with fines.
Yeah, what would be the extent then of your legal bid to try and extend these driver's licenses in South Africa?
Yeah, I think our legal advice is more towards, if the government doesn't want to listen, if the government doesn't want to come to the party and to the table to find solutions to this clearly a big problem. Motorists are really struggling. And it's, like I've referred to this systemic problems. NARTIS has always been a problem. It seems that online booking is not running as smoothly as one can. Services at centers are not what it's supposed to be. But you know what? We can fix it. But you need to listen. Go listen to the private sector. Listen to civil societies. There are some good ideas out there that can help the department to make this easier for motorists. But I think that the legal opinion comes in. What if government doesn't want to listen? Really, what if government doesn't want to listen and go out of their way to give people fines in situations like this, where people just are unable to abide by whatever regulations there are. And what is that we can do? And I think at this point it is about telling people that, if you have a license, you have a valid license, in other words, it wasn't suspended by a court of law, and you've tried your utmost best to try and renew your license. Keep record of whatever you do. Is maybe you should stand up and fight for what is right if you are then unlawfully written a ticket.
Yeah. Now, the other thing is that the conversation with the Department of Transport advisor to the minister the other day, and I raised this issue, and he says, well, we've created other, for example, interventions, like if the system is giving you trouble, you can, for example, keep your old license, show proof that you have been applying, or at least you're waiting for your new license, keep the receipt, or things like that. And they're saying these are things that certainly would be applicable. Does that go far enough?
It doesn't go far enough. Just between you and me, that is a regulation that is currently there. The regulation states that if your driver's license card expired and you have proof that you have paid for, the renewal of your card, your expired card is then valid for 3 months. So this is not something new. It's not as if they're doing us a favor. Under certain circumstances, it would have been enough. But I mean, if you, as the minister, say that the backlog you experienced during COVID is only going to be resolved in September 2020. Not even a 3-month period is going to assist you. I don't think that there's any shame in saying we have this process. We're finding difficulty in the process, but we still need to get rid of corruption, and we still need to finalize this process that people will not, be sympathetic. But don't take that out on innocent motorists that all they want to do is be law-abiding citizens.
Any indication from the Minister on whether or not he will be coming around on the cost question for temporary driving licenses? Because for those who applied after the expiry date, the expectation is that they will need to apply for their temporary driver's license card. And many people have said, well, this is just an affordability issue.
It is an affordability issue for something that is not their fault. I think that is sort of what gets one going, is that if you forgot to renew your license and all of a sudden you remember and you realize that, sure, your driver's license card has expired and I need to apply for a temporary license, whether a cost there is necessary is still debatable, but then at least it's your fault. But if someone needs to apply for a temporary drive, I've heard of people that, it's a year now they haven't received their cards. They have now I think it's the second or third time they need to apply for a temporary license because they still didn't get their card. So there's, you have to believe that there are horrible stories, but somewhere along the middle are the reasonable stories. And all we hear is that people are really, really just struggling to renew their licenses. I believe that if you went out of your way to do this, any court will find in your favor. It's just reasonable. But to ask whether this whole system is a money-making scheme, and unfortunately, I have to say that I think the signs are there that it is. The recent regulations that came out, the fees that the RTMC, for example, can charging you 22 Rand just to give you an opportunity to make an online booking. Isn't that something we should get? The RTMC and, for example, the RTIA apparently makes enough money to pay their CEO exorbitant bonuses. So, why are we renewing this every 5 years if the standard is 10 years? Why do we have cards if, for example, your license you have for life? Why do we have to renew it? They're not testing our ability to drive. All they do is they want to test your eyes, which you can also, you can do that at your at any eye doctor and send them the results. Your ID document remains. The fact that you lose your ID doesn't mean you're no longer a South African citizen. So it depends on what is the objective. Why are we doing this? And be careful that you do not squeeze the last bit of sense out of motorists that's already struggling in a poor economy and with so many other things, petrol prices going, somewhere along the line. Don't you have sympathy for South Africans and the current state our economy is in?